Yeah, I'm fascinated. You know, my history goes back to financial markets for 40 years now, 45 years. And you always look for mispricing in the markets. And it's very rare you find something like El Salvador that the market is so incredibly underpriced. I think the rating agencies are now catching on. They just raised the rating. The bond market has been extraordinary for El Salvador. It's the best performing emerging market. That's institutional money. Now we have what's called the smart money. This is the folks who are going to come in and start developing more seriously the infrastructure and the tourism and things like that. And then a year from now, we're going to have a line at LaGuardia trying to get on a plane to escape the shithole that is the United States and fleeing, right? We already have the migration numbers are already approaching reverse migration. They're very close now, where you get more people are fleeing the U.S. to El Salvador than vice versa. And so this is, once that flips, I think that's escape velocity. That's how I would define it.
I would also say that the rating, we were upgraded, El Salvador was upgraded yesterday by the S&P, but their rating is still total bullshit, and everybody in this room knows that. Like, there's no way this fucking country is not investment grade. We're all here investing and we're building because we believe it's investment grade. So it's bullshit, that rating agency. See, somebody laugh.
So investing in El Salvador, you mentioned that. What is the best way for Bitcoiners to invest in the country, invest in the people? Obviously, everything Bitcoin, everything pro-Bitcoin, but what are you seeing being here, living in here? Okay, we have legal tender. What's the next step? What's the way that entrepreneurs and Bitcoin-focused entrepreneurs can invest in this country and accelerate that?
We're building Renaissance 2.0, and that means everything. We need everything. We need, like I said, the best individuals, the best builders, the best companies, the best artists, the best thinkers, doers, like beers. We don't want plunderers. We've locked them all up. We've kicked them out of the country. We don't have the corrupt anymore. All those shitcoiners can go somewhere else. One of the, like Puerto Rico or something. We don't need them here, right? So you just need to invest your time and your energy, and that includes just simply don't trust, verify. Because if you're all of you here are verifying for a fact that you see what's in front of you and what you're experiencing here in El Salvador. A lot of people outside El Salvador just read the press or read online FUD, and they think it's, that's all the investment they put into thinking whether or not they want to move there. They're like, no, I'm going to trust the mainstream media, and I'm not going to move there or visit there. So just invest your time and energy, and once you come here, I've seen quite a few people, like Lena, she came here to visit and now she's staying. Like, that's generally what happens. A lot of people come to visit and they never leave.
Yeah, I think the new Statue of Liberty is a volcano in El Salvador. This has become the home of the brave, land of the free, or is it land of the free, home of the brave? I've forgotten what's going on over there. That landmass wedged between Canada and Mexico, I forget sometimes. But this is really, the best investment is to come here. And, we've been for John over at Me Premier Bitcoin, for example, he came here, and Me Premier Bitcoin is absolutely unbelievable. And he really built that from scratch. And that's the kind of opportunity anybody who comes here who's entrepreneurial has a good idea. And the country needs everything across the board. Anything you do, they want, they need, and that's the message. And I'll say something else about living in El Salvador is that, as it was explained to me once by somebody, if you go to Japan or you move to Japan, you never become Japanese. If you move to France, you really never become French. If you go to the U.S., there's a melting pot, and you can become American. It's similar here in El Salvador. People love everyone moving here, and they embrace you as family. You become Salvadoran the second you eat your first pupusa.
Has that been your favorite thing about moving here, is not just seeing Bitcoin adoption, but being a part of the community and seeing that the whole nation support you, or all the Bitcoiners here support you?
Yeah, it's one of the most important things. Like I said, metric that we look at is the number of Bitcoiners adopting El Salvador, and that's how we gauge whether or not we're succeeding in what we're doing. Because all of the work we're doing, whether it's the education projects, whether it's providing the very simple, clear laws and regulations, or whether it's having the Bitcoin office, as John Dennehy pointed out, like the fact that we have a Bitcoin office and you can call and we can hear people's concerns. So the metric we look at is the number of companies moving here, and I know it's working, and because I see the companies coming. I know Fold and Strike, for example, just announced they're moving here. We're going to have another few rounds of big announcements over the next few months of people coming here. I just heard that, there was a gathering of some Bitcoin companies somewhere in the United States, and there was a half-day discussion with this gathering of Bitcoiners that what is their El Salvador plan? So that's what we want, is you need an El Salvador plan if you want to be taken seriously in the Bitcoin space. And that's a sign that we're succeeding in what we're trying to do.
Yeah, I would pretty much concur with that.
That's how well I've trained him. That's our dinner conversation all night long. He just says, I pretty much concur with you.
So with the embassy, with the regulatory clarity and everything else coming for Bitcoin in the U.S. with the ETF and everything of that sort, do you think that that's going to have a major impact here in the narrative for obviously Bitcoin, but then also, El Salvador did do the right thing and they did adopt this? Or do you think it's irrelevant? Do you think that El Salvador needs the West to change your opinion? He'll just keep marching forward.
Well, obviously President Bukele is a bit like a honey badger. He don't give a fuck, like whatever they want to do. But we always believed for quite a long time now, Bitcoin is money, everything else is a shitcoin or a security, we'll call it, right? But the U.S. was saying that, the regulators were saying that over and over and over, and all these people keep on demanding regulatory clarity, and it's like, they're fucking telling you, like, it's a shitcoin, it's a scam, they know it, like, everybody knows it. So we just okay, let's just put it down on paper, because we realized, remember, the U.S., the IMF, all these international rating agencies, big banks were saying El Salvador is going to fail. They're adopting Bitcoin. It's going to be a disaster, collapse, blah, blah, blah. Well, you know what collapsed? All of those highly regulated entities out of New York City, which is triply regulated inside the U.S. So you had all of those, you had SBF, you had Celsius, you had BlockFi, you had all that stuff happen in the U.S. It didn't happen here for a reason, because we were here and we kept this Bitcoin country.